load up the Kaneva. Oh, hello, hello. There's liquidity down there. It dries up. They push an auction. Maker pulls. There's more liquidity up there, so we're moving higher now. I scratch on no liquidity at 72.25. It was an error. I'm looking for the auction to continue. It's continuing. I'm going to try to get 71.75. They revisit prices. They don't. I'm looking for 123 as resistance and liquidity. They fill it and explode to the upside. I'm going to take a short and scratch here because the auction shifted. I'm looking for more. Tape dried up, so I don't know where it's going now. There's tape to the downside. I take a short and I'm on the wrong side of it. Liquidity dries up and they pull lower, so the maker wants to facilitate trade lower. Liquidity dries up again. It stops. We're going higher. So I guess I'm going to scratch 2-3 ticks out. Okay. And then a seller steps in. The maker pulls, so he wants to facilitate an auction right there. Same trade. He pulls after I realize that he wants to facilitate an auction. And sellers step in, and the maker pulls back into this LBN here. The trade is this zone right there. It bid lows again. The auction shifts. And I get caught on the offside. We're playing from the short side now. Lower liquidity dries up, and I scratch. Before moving lower. Trade LVNs. I'm just going to focus on cutting losers. Hit the next price and scratch that. So now we're back at VPOC. And tape isn't doing much, and the maker wants it lower. We fill liquidity. We fill an order there. And then a buyer hits at VPOC, and the tape dries up. Maker walks it down, and then they pull. There's a bit of an auction there. Tape dries up. We're back at my entry 2-3 times. I'm going to get out. The auction's right there. Shifting lower, 15.27, 14.15.12. Selling lower, liquidity dries up. They run it in the opposite direction on the maker side. They pull. There's an auction up there that I want. I'm going to try to catch it more. There's a seller right there. Facilitating trade lower. Price stops there, which begets more of a market order. So we're probably going lower now. We're back at this level. For 20s, 18s, they're piling in now, and I get caught in the opposite direction. And I get caught in the opposite direction again. Really whipsawed for a lot of ticks. 13, 20. We're back at that level now. What are the odds it just holds again? +1. We revisit it, the auction shifts lower. But I think they get absorbed again and they break through this time. Hmm. Sellers below, tape stops. They form an auction to the upside and get out. Ones, 22s. Later on in the LVN back up. Yeah. When we get up on low liquidity, a buyer gets absorbed. And again, we slowly move down. To 40. They bought it. We're facilitating trade now in the LVN. Liquidity rise up again. The order. Picks up. And shifts. Then a seller steps in after the auction shifts. Bode well. They throw ones. 15. We're at the top of the auction now. 50. Liquidity dries up. The maker pulls it upwards. We're going to be sitting pretty. 19 and 10 absorbed there. More absorption there. The auction shifts higher. We're going back to VPOC probably. Now I'm looking for some sort of rejection or liquidity to dry out. Doesn't look like it's drying up. I'd add another trade here just based on that price action, but I can't. Close. 13. 2, 11, 9, 16, 22, 10, 2, 11, 4, 9, 23, 14. Up in the auctions, they're shifting lower. Like catch short, they push it down there. I'm looking for triple sixes. Somebody bids it up, liquidity dries up, the maker pulls it lower. Triple sixes. Seeing some pushback now. There's still a lacking in an auction, but it's to the upside this time. Maker walks it lower. 50s, and then they stack this. I think they fill that. They did. I'm going to catch that trade and mark it because it was a good trade. And then this auction's pushing lower, but it's lighter relative to the old one. 2s, 4s, 9s, 12s, some uptaking. Looks like we're going to leave it and the maker's going to pull. If we come back in like that, I'm going to get out. Tape is slowing down and we're still shifting lower. I can walk it back up. If they're in the process of doing that, I'm going to get out. 40, 11, 13. I'm looking for 80s at 64. They filled that and looks like he pulled, and we came down here down to 63, and liquidity dried up. So I'm getting out. Seventeens, 4s, 13s, 12s. Yeah, they pull it back up, 10s and 40s. I missed the limit. We're at the notch here. Maker's pulling it up again, looking for liquidity. Probably going to hit that level there. 64.25. We're just front running it. 64.25, 64.25. Okay, we hit it and there's liquidity there, which begets higher market prices, I think. I get out. 18, 48, 30, big seller. I think they retrace him. They did. They fill the retrace him all the way. He comes back up and cleans out on the maker. The seller's gone. 65 is, let's see. There's an auction up there. 11, bull side. Some strong upticking, which connotates higher prices on limits and markets. Lows, 21s. They're reloading there, and the auction's shifting higher. I'm gonna try to catch a runner here. Tape is gone, so I'm getting out. Seller, a buyer, they retrace him probably. Yeah, they do. Want to get out. I got it on that 65 to 60 triple sixes, just a buyer. And typically when that happens, if somebody sells, it retraces. If somebody sells, it retraces. There's something, whatever. If they buy it, it's hard to explain. I'll just mark it and explain it in the review. 227 triple sixes of 50. The auctions to the upside now. Tape slowed down at 65.75. Bid it up again, then threw it lower, and I took a round for it. Liquidity is shifting lower now. That's a bad fill. Get out of it. Market's shifting lower now. I'm going to try to get a stink bid there. If there's liquidity above here, I want to get out. There's an auction right there, which doesn't bode well. If it comes back in the floor, I'm going to scratch for 1 or 2 ticks. Now the auction's down there. The maker walks it up, so I'm against the market maker. I'm going to get out. And the auction's shifting now. I can get a 2-tick stop, like right there. I'll get in. But I want to see 49 and 34 in the market stopping below my entry. I'm not interested in. I'm looking for nothing. 64s. Big momentum. I'm going to try to play triple six. And they put me offside 4 ticks and I get out probably. Steps in. It stops. The maker pushes it up. Probably looking for liquidity from the previous move. 11s, 12s, 13s. Yeah. The auction's moving higher on the inside print. Probably 63.50. It's getting sticky though. And it shifts lower. I'm going to hold it though because the auction's still there. 44, it dries up and we're going to move lower now. 75s. That or I misread it. See, it's thickened up now. I'm just going to get whipsawed to hell. 63.50. Yeah, I did. I just got whipsawed over and over again. Maker wants it up. Big seller. I think it retraces. I'm wrong. Right here, 62.25. I thought it was going to break up, and I've been betting for 63s for like 5 trades, and nothing happened. We're obviously going lower. And we dry up here again. For the moment I say that, it's just the 63s. 10s, 15s. And they bid up, and liquidity dries up again, but the maker bids it up anyways. And when I close, we sell lower. Here shows up. I'm going to fade him at that level, 62s, the kind of sticky level. 814 is down ticking. And then it shows up again, blows it out. We're playing from the long side. Trying to catch this buyer, which we did. These are momentum plays now. There's no momentum. I'm getting out. I'm going to try again. Yep. Some directional movement. I'm going to try to catch the auction again. 30, 18, 8, 4, 2, 3. Here's there again. Epoch, 70. He's gone now. He's back up there. Whatever. I could have held, but I didn't. So I get absorbed, price stops, move lower, buyers are being absorbed again. Other places of trade here. There's no liquidity up there. If we get up here, that means we're moving higher. I think anyways. Tape stops. The maker pushes it higher on no orders. And 80 and 71, 72. They're spamming tape now. We're looking for a runner. Right, it's still going. 1s, 11s. And then a seller steps in. They bid the tape up again. We're still going. We bid past the absorption. Somebody spoofs. That looks like it's all she wrote. 262. I think they pull again. We're looking for liquidity to the downside. We're going to try to retrace the bulk of the move to pick up any other orders left over. There's an auction right there. If they don't tag me in, I'm actually really good with it because I'm losing money anyways. Liquidity dries up and the maker pushes it lower. Probably trying to pick off orders. A little bit of a slow walk down. 8s and 10s. Big order. They got him. I'm gonna go against him and fade and go with the maker who's pushing it lower. Unless they pull like they did right there. And then a big seller stepped in. The maker runs it back up in the opposite direction for the seller. So I should have gotten out at that blip. They run it up higher. So I think we're pricing higher now. Worries. Makers asking higher, 75s. Some absorption, auctions there. The runs out, maker pushes it higher. Looking for 117s unless they stack the queue. They run it higher. 28s, 7s, 21s, 2s, still higher. Makers asking higher. Okay. 39. And these people get absorbed. I just feel it. Little pushback. Auction chips higher. I get out. Who cares about what I feel? 22. 11, 18, 15. Okay, now the auction shipping lower. I'm going to try to get a stink bid. There we go. If the maker wants this, I mean that's it. I'm gonna explode here. But now there's a fight, and they pull. The buyer pushes it there, and we're up taking, so we're back in bullish territory, pushing to what looks like high day. There's no liquidity down there. We're in for a little counter trend down to there, yeah. And then 23. Tape stops. The maker's in control. Pushing lower. Yep. I'm gonna get out at that blip, which is an active. There's a whole bunch of active participation. I think it runs over looking for orders, but the move is already over and I'm late, so I'm gonna get away from it. We're probably going back to high day. 10, 18, 10, 17. 23, 47. Some down ticking now, which you don't like to see, so I'm getting out. Doesn't mean the trade's wrong. We're asking lower now, they pull. 13, 1, 2. They want a lower auction. 11 and 3. Nine, 20. Maker asks higher. But we're inside the value area, so I'm going to play it from the short side. They throw it lower. Looking for liquidity now. We get up there. There's an auction right there. Auction right there. Dries up. They ask lower. Big auction right there. Big adding more orders. Liquidity dries up. Maker has to step in now. And he doesn't really do that, so I'm getting out. 112s. They're going to plunge off of 112s, which is what they did. It's 75 evens. And they came back lower. It looks like they run this guy over soon. Have a low liquidity market limit order here. hundreds. They're stacking the queue, facilitating trade. So there's aggressive demand at that price. And they iceberg there. So they stack the queue. I get out and it runs back to my M3. So there's a buy wall at 75 evens. No liquidity there. Towards the downside now, pushing higher. They plunge. 18s, 16s. They plunge. I'm going to try to front run this guy in the queue. I fail. Down to 30s. Seller in control. They plunge the queue. I'm going to take that trade off of the plunge. 2, 4, 6. $58s. They plunge again. They're defending 75s again. They come lower. I think 75 holds. Just based off of that guy down there. I'm gonna get creative and put myself a tick lower. The auction shifts below 75 and I pull before it explodes on me. 11, 108, 108. Then. So we're looking for liquidity now. They offer higher, so I get out. Eight 53, 15, 14. It's just higher into the LBM. I'm gonna try to get 80 25s. I don't want to chase it. They're moving higher on sellers, so it's gonna explode. 14. If these people get ran over, I mean, that's it. Like that. Yeah, a buyer steps in. I'm not, but there's no make or drive here. Now there's still no make or drive. Now there kind of is. I want to see if he offers lower or if he lets us trade higher. It looks like they're offering lower. Tape is running out. We're forming an auction, but we're forming a slow one, not a fast one. which tells me I'm on the wrong side of the trade. What you want to see is inside prints, and then boom, 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 boom. You want to see the fast shifting of price. If you see inside prints and it's slow, you get out. 11s, evens, nothing there, nothing there. 12s, 12s, hundreds. See right there is a momentum play from aggressive trades. There, the push lower, liquidity dries up, and the buyer steps in. I'm getting out. There's a slow auction there, so I'm getting out. Another slow auction tells me price is going to reverse. Auction. 16s, 13s, still a bit of an uptick. 5s, 13s, 8s. 36. The auction is lower now. Tape is slowed down, but it's not going to stop it. Now, where's the maker is the question. You don't want higher prices. Can I get 76.50, please? And then they're going to move lower on no liquidity, or they're going to come back to my entry. They're ticking right there. It's too much. 35. I would get in front of this train and have the maker push it lower, but be 76, 75 on the back end. Big order, and it's real. Huge absorption there. Big plunge as people realize it's real. I'll be back in 9 minutes. Bid up, auction shifting lower on a seller. Price stopped there. Maker wants it higher. We failed to claim lower. Maker pushes it lower. We're back at VPOC. Tape dries up. There's a buyer there. Tape dries up. There's an auction there. We revisit highs. We're looking for liquidity to the upside now. There's a short there. They're not going to let me in though. Maybe they type me back in and the auction shifts. Get short and whipsawed. So my initial trade idea was correct. I'm going to try to catch this plunge on the auction shifting and liquidity drying up. So anytime they give me a fill like that, it's typically worse. I'm going to try to play it from the short side now and like cut off side. I catch it again. Nope. I'm in front of a train, if that makes sense. And she's going to rally again here. And I missed it. The seller finally steps in. This is the thin spot that I'm hitting on the inside print for a short. The auction shifts. I'm going to hold it. The auction shifts higher. Seller steps in again. I'm going to try to catch it again. There's the seller, kind of fast, and the return to price. I'm going to get out. I don't know where it's going from here. The seller steps in again. Seller shows up. Asks lower. Tape dries up. 14s, 17, 11, 29, 13, 14. The auction shifts higher. VPOC. Some upticking. We're going to break out. I missed the 3-4 tick move. Now we're down ticking. Liquidity dries up. Maker tries to offer higher, and we see lower prices. Now we're looking for liquidity. The maker pushes lower to 68. Where there is liquidity, that begets more of a market order than it dries up. I get out there. The auction shifts lower on sellers. There's a bunch of buyers who are going to push it up here. That's what I presume. They plunge prices. We're back at these highs. Let's see if I can get a cheeky fill. They don't let me in. And then when they do, they might just run me over. Okay, so the auction shifts higher. They revisit my entry. We're going higher then. Yep, there's the initial response from buying, the lack of liquidity from the maker. Back to VPOC. Yep. We sell lower. Back to 153s. Eighteens, fives, and sixes. and they pull, and I get caught offside 1,000 million, 100 million ticks. Just the fact that we're doing this back and forth at VPOC tells me we're going higher up to 71. Now we're down ticking in the opposite direction. Maker pulls it lower. We're looking for liquidity down here, these stacked orders. I don't think they're going to put them up without a fight. I finally get short on what looks like some real action. 30, 21, 66, 50. Are we going to push it? They plunge again and they're absorbed. We're going to eat this order. And we probably explode lower if we eat it. They reloaded, I got out. There's another stink bid. Trying to play off these people. The auction shifts higher. Do we run out of liquidity here? No. The auction shifts again. Get out again. I'm going to get whipsawed here, I think. Some down ticking, indecision. I'm out. The maker's offering higher and you can't really get anything. He'll just run it on its own, looking for liquidity, which is probably up there. Knowing that, there, 29, 22, back to VPOC. We have an auction there. It dries up there. Maker offers lower. We're back ticking back and forth. We're looking for liquidity again. 13, 38, 47. There's a real auction there. It dries up. Some aggressive, weird upticking there. 511, 7.4s. I'm going to get out before they plunge me from 199s. Yep. Big spread of an auction here. I'm going to try to play the inside of it, especially on liquidity drying up. I'm not seeing what I wanted. I got out right before it exploded lower. 22s, 13s, 27s. Okay, go for it. Fourteens and 20s, 22s, 29s. They're reloading. The auction shifts. They plunge. They probably get absorbed here at the highs. They send it lower to 665s. And when this order hits, it pukes a couple ticks. No, they filled it on 317s and getting out. I'm going to trade the counter trend of that because typically it goes lower and this time it didn't. So that tells me there's bullish demand here. There's some slow upticking. Move up, tape, dries up. I think the maker pushes it to 67.25. Then we lose it. Getting out. Triple sixes now. Maker wants it higher. Some down ticking. They want to trade there. An auction. Seller steps in. Maker runs it higher after the auction. 25s. Trading again. There's demand up here, and they're absorbing on sellers. When liquidity dries up, I think they sell it higher. He sells it lower again, forming the range at 68. If we break out of 68, we're going to VPOC. We do, by the looks of it, because of the upticking. And the maker offers lower instead of the seller. So they want the range there. They're looking to fill out from here, probably. 1s, 15s, 6s, 13s, 19s. It doesn't bode well for me, and I got out before it ran in my direction. 36, 10s, 10s, 4s, 15s, 10s. Plunge. No plunge, opposite. Back to VPOC. Are we going to run out with tape? No. You got in front of a train right there. I'm going to get whipsawed trying to play the absorption. Yep. Thirteens, 100s, 42s. The auction shifts. We're kind of in a sticky situation here. Maker finally sells it lower. Seller steps in 66.25. So auction here 67.25. 22s, 19s, 26s. I just got out of instinct there. 4s, there's nothing there. Again, we're revisiting. We hit VPOT. I had a feeling that was going to happen. So lower, liquidity dries up. We're going to try to play the plunge again. Not the actual plunge, but just the sort of magnet around VPOC. I have to scratch this trade because I just can't have it on my books. You'd think we're good to go and we're going to go lower. What are the odds they pull to the upside again? And then there's an actual auction demand. So the T and MMT, I just got in front of the train. Play it from the short side. The slow walk down. Some nonsensical back ticking from nothing, then trying to offer higher, and then the maker, and then active sellers pushing it lower. Eventually it'll price in and something will happen and we'll run out of liquidity and run up or cut out. This plunges. If it doesn't plunge, I'm getting out. That's not good news. The fact that it didn't plunge. They're defending this level. If I scratch this trade, I'm going to get in long again. They lose it. That was wrong. They were looking for momentum at 66, and there was none. I should have read it. Got it. Ooh. I'm going to try to catch a limit here and eat into these orders. Baker bids it up. Tried to play the outside of an auction. Baker wants it higher. Not anymore. Do they pull again? No, they pull in the opposite direction, facilitating an auction there. So I'm looking for a trend that doesn't exist. And I just pay with my life, basically. That it would be right there, 69.50, and then 71. And then the sell program to 68. And I'm trying to catch it to play reversion, and I just get caught offside for the entire move down. So it's like 3 losses in a row. And watch me get whipsawed. Well, there's an auction there, so it actually looks good. 57. Right, if we don't see a move here, it's gonna reverse. There was no move, so it's gonna reverse. Maker pulls it lower. There's still an auction there, but I'm gonna hold it because of the previous one. Let me get out there for 5-tick loss. Or just keep going. I'm just gonna try to catch the move down because they're so bent on it. I have to scratch this now. I'm gonna pull because of that large order. Pull the ask again. They sell lower. Anchor asks lower after a buy program. 61.25 on the tape. 25, 1, 11, 33, 24, 18, 34. Walking lower. Auctions there now. Asking lower. Tape is slowing down. I thought it was a reversal. It's just tape slowing down, I think. Selling lower now. Liquidity dries up. I'm holding the trade. Looking for liquidity to dry up again. Buyers are absorbed. 43. We're walking down looking for more. We find it. Just an entire I keep thinking, that they're gonna stop selling. It's obviously a mistake. It's gotta go now. Doesn't want to go. So plunge, then tape stops. Tape stops again. We'll swap. Spoofed order. We come back down there. We're done. We're back in this really toothy profile. Liquidity dries up there. I'm not even going to play it, and I'm just going to try to catch the short off the toothy profile. We don't offer. Right there. There's soft taking now. There's liquidity down there, though, and there's none up here. So what I watch for, buy order, market maker pulls, and then we rally higher. My stop loss off of my entry. I try to catch it. $62s. $62s. Stacking the queue. They traded. Stacking the queue again. Just the fact that that exists. But there's a big auction right there. Yeah, there's a blip. I want it again. Maker pulls. Nope. Maker pulls again. I get caught offside like a million ticks immediately. Performs there, 56, 65. Yep. They pull 55s. There's an auction down there at 55, so I'm gonna leave them in the dust though. We're pushing 5650s now. We're looking for liquidity, and there's liquidity above 5650s. I'm gonna try to catch the bid. Liquidity drives up, it should send us down lower here. The maker wants higher prices he used to until liquidity dried up, and now we're heading from the lower side. Probably down to 53.75s. It's a little bit too generous, but if it is there, then it'll be there, right? The auction shifts lower at 56. Liquidity dries up again, 17 and 10 at 55. Shifts lower, what did I say? 53.75s. There's big buyers now. I want to see if they get absorbed. There's upticking that just gets absorbed. Down to 53.75s, we hit it. We hit it again. There's an auction there which tells me we're going lower, and buyers are being suppressed. And there's big absorption down there before a further move down to 53, 52s. I'm getting out just because it's too much to watch. And 53.75s, there's an auction there off of inside prints. There's some upticking. 53.75s kick up. 55.25s, 55.75. We're back at lows. Liquidity dries up again at 55.25s, and they sell it lower. There's an auction there and a seller. 53.25s. I want to see what happens there. Liquidity dries up again. We run it back up to 55s probably. Walk it down back at 55s off of maker. Fours, 14s, fours, 7, 22s, 13s. Maker's pulling it higher. We're in LVN, no man's land. There's a little auction there. Looking for liquidity off the maker side. 8 and 1s, 2s, 12s, 1s, 33s. They explode to the upside. 19, 32, 11s. They blow up again. 33s, 63s. I want to get in there. And then they walk it down against me. Liquidity dries up there after the auction shifts lower. You just get whipsawed sometimes is how it works. Now we're sell side. I'm trying to catch an auction here. Then she rallies off of somebody spoofing a plunge. We're back at lows, and then they pull the order. They pull it again, and I rally on sellers. So maker wanted higher, judging by this and that auctioning higher, at least for that thin spot, unless we run out of liquidity and we sweep lower again. They just want to trade between 660 and 57.75. No breakouts allowed. Okay. Maker pulls. There's an auction and a maker. Single prints, 58s, probably. Yeah, past 58s. There's an auction now. Liquidity dries up. The maker, anyway, pulls anyways. Low side, tape stops, fives. I'm out. Which is the toe side of 56. I'm going to market order this. E675. Liquidity is gone. They pull it up. They sell it lower, so they're forming an auction. 15s at 59s. Yeah. It slows up. 11s, 17s, 55. It's going to break out. It's going to break out even though the auction's lower because it's hitting over and over again. So limits and so the maker and the participant wants to trade higher prices. That's what I presume, even though there's no liquidity. And the maker pulls, and after it pulls, they runs it. They run it. And they pull again. So instead of a full value traversal, it looks like we could just balance there instead, which isn't what I signed up for. So I'm getting out. I think we break this node. And that was communicated by completely blasting through the node and not filling me. So upticking. I'm looking for slow absorption from sellers, and I'm not seeing that. So I'm gonna get out and flip. I meant to say I was looking for the maker to push it down. Then we see a plunge completely eaten, which confirms my original bias of lower. And then the moment I say plunge completely eaten, it reverses in the opposite direction. We're messing with this LVN now, and I'm going to get out. Because the buyer's in control. Apes. Ape is still going. Rally to the top. Slows up, and then these people don't plunge. They just trade 134 and go away. I'm getting sloppy with these fills. I'm just offside 3 ticks over and over again. Plunge. They sell lower 23s, ones. Looking for liquidity now. There's a bid there. Some explosion to the upside. Reversal. Speed of tape is picking up, so things are going to get hairy in a minute. We're going lower. I'm going to shift back from reading the inside prints and just watching the speed of tape because the market's closing soon. So you're going to see a lot of shenanigans. Tape stops. Some upticking, more upticking, which tells me I'm on the right side. Right. And then we slow down, which tells me I'm on the wrong side. And then we auction lower. Some more aggressive upticking back to that same level, and then a slow walk down. More aggressive upticking. They try to catch short. It explodes. Seller steps in, but nobody's willing to push it lower. They mark it in, even though I'm a tick behind. And then they sell it lower in the opposite direction. They fill 49s. Yeah. Sell lower. Tape stops. Tape stops again. They sell lower. 46, 18, 33s, twos, evens. Tape stopped. Tape stopped again, which is still bearish. They just keep selling lower. We're traversing the LVN now. I want these bids at at this plunge. That's what the trade is for. I'm going into the 45s, which I did, and then we see a bounce from the 45s, aggressive buying. I'm gonna play the rally up to 47. Tape stops instead of going higher, which tells me we're going lower. Ooh, 350 hits and somebody's basket order hits and immediately runs me out of town. My concern here, aside from losing money, is I'm throwing so many trades um, that I could just be paying 1,000 million dollars in fees. So it wouldn't even be possible and profitable. So I have to figure something out. Whatever, we'll keep going until 10 minutes and then I'll adjust accordingly. Tape stops, back up at highs. They walk it down, it's bearish. They walk it up now. Tape stops after pushing highs again. It's bullish. Now the speed of tape is moving like that. Running line, they walk it down and tape stops again. Push up, they push up again. Push up again. Tape stops again. And then they puke and rallied in the opposite direction. Is that another spoof? Oh, it's a real order. I try to catch this turn. There's no turn. I defend the level and then there's a turn. We catch the turn, 40, 15, 20, 11, 18, 5. 25. Wrong. 65. I'll hold the trade. Looking for liquidity down at 50. Some aggressive uptaking and then a further walk down. Price stops. We hit it 65.50. ones, 25s, 15s, 11s. 12s, 29s, threes, ones. Just a shifting lower, the stopping a tape, and then other rally in the opposite direction to my stop loss, presumably. I'm looking for LVNs now, 45s. They walk it up and tape stops again. There's a recurring auction at my entry. I don't like to see that. Big absorption, sell lower, buy wall at 44. Tape slows up, from lower. They reload, they sell 200, they reload again. People front run when they realize the orders are real. Let's see if I can catch one. Give me 45s. $56, $36, $250, $255. They move it down the queue. Huge. Oh my gosh. What? 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 Wait, somebody had 1,600 contracts? I don't know how to trade off of that, but it's cool anyways. We sell lower. Tape stops. Liquidity dries up. Big absorption. Response from buyers. That's it.